chat. I mean, we've got people waiting for us this week.
We do. Hello, everybody.
We've got Gradrim. Hello, he's first. We have LGM. Lord Inquisitor Hector Rex is speaking foreign.
He's speaking weeb, I believe.
I would tell him to speak English, but I have on fairly good authority that that's a hate crime now. In the UK.
If by the fairly good authority you mean the British Gestapo, yes.
Yes, in fact, we have a video to that effect.
That's a spicy meatball.
Huh?
That's a spicy meatball.
It is a spicy meatball.
There's a video.
It's a video of a policeman being like, "Deaf man, you're not allowed to ask for people to clarify." And he's like, "But I'm deaf."
How dare an Englishman in England ask someone to speak English? You know, the only fucking language the Englishman in England speaks and needs to speak.
Games are not software, just games. Please, thank you. Where is it? Oh, I just got really confused. I was like, where's my games? I don't remember playing these games. But then I added four games that I got keys for to my thing, and of course just put them in my recent games. I was like, I don't remember playing these. Who's shit? Did somebody actually get arrested for speaking English? No, but they did get told off by the police for asking somebody to speak English. Because why the hell not? In fact,
why the hell not?
Let's bring it up.
Centurion Fox has apparently subscribed. Thank you very much. Welcome.
You may have filmed some of this interaction.
Jump in the gun, Mr. Policeman. Now, I'm hoping they're going to be able to hear the video.
Aren't you glad you don't have to... It's so worth not speaking German, right, Disco?
Yes. P. Gates. I had to speak German in school anyway. To learn bloody German regardless. Talking about. Right, let's just Chrome capture this one. There we go. Can we see? We can see. So if I now make him big. Yeah. Now, I assume they're going to be able to hear it. They should be able to hear it because I have been playing the music for the stream. So, fingers crossed.
So you may have filmed some of this interaction with the mayor.
I should probably also send it to you.
Yes.
That would be a
I was
good
expected
idea.
to have audio today.
Audio. I'll put it in the chat for this call. Here we go.
No, because if you do, that would be really handy for us. But
I can't hear it. You'll have to tell me.
Conversations between yourself. Apparently, you have alleged. We weren't here, so I don't know who said it. But you've alleged to say speak English, or was that effect? Speak clearly.
No, the gentleman's question deaf.
Yeah, okay. Speak clearly. Yeah.
So I couldn't even hear him.
No, and that's fine, and that's why we've just come to speak, because potentially someone could perceive that as a hate crime.
Didn't we just know this was going to happen?
No, I know.
People, you know, if someone says to me, officer, I believe this, then we need to look at it, because someone's potentially reporting to me.
I mean, I'm hoping that they could hear it, but
Yeah, they can.
But just asking I mean, that isn't even what the guy, it turns out that's not even what the guy asked. The guy was deaf and was like, can you speak clearly, please, because I can't understand you. Like, which, if you're deaf, and it really winds me up, because my nan was mostly deaf. And, like, you really had to, like, sort of stand to the side of her and talk very clearly into her good ear, or she hadn't got a clue what you were saying. And it's, like, it's horrifying that she could have asked someone to speak a bit clearer and have a police officer stood there being like... Meanwhile, if you get burglarized, get in the queue. Winds me up.
Yep. How long's the queue? Forever. Eternity.
Long's the queue?
They'll just never
Yes.
show up.
How long's the queue? Yes.
I saw in the community notes on in Twitter that some inbred cocksucker posted, even the people in the video are like, the policeman was just doing his job. Yes, we heard that excuse before, shortly before we hanged them.
I thought just doing your job was not an excuse.
Yeah, it didn't work for the prison guards at Auschwitz. It shouldn't be working for the bloody British police, or just doing their jobs. Yeah, and their job is to be a Nazi piece of shit.
Yeah, I would love for them to do their jobs, like, you know, tracking down criminals, or I don't know, like attending burglaries or stuff like that. But they've actually turned around and said before, like, we can't attend every burglary because we don't have the manpower. And you have the manpower to be harassing deaf people in the street for asking people to speak clearer. It winds me off. It winds me off. Same case with my dad, though. He's now got a hearing aid. Well, she did have a hearing aid, but that was a good ear. And like, even with the hearing aid, you had to be like super clear in her ears. She lost most of her hearing due to meningitis. And because she lost it late in life, she couldn't do sign language and she couldn't lip read. So she was really reliant on people actually speaking really clearly to her. And it breaks my heart that she could have a fucking policeman stood there now, telling her off. Makes me sad. Makes me mad.
But God forbid you ask. God forbid, it is now apparently illegal in the United Kingdom to go, sorry, I only speak English. Do you also speak English so we can fucking communicate?
I know, it is kind of beside the point, isn't it? I mean, it's really sad that he happened to be deaf, and that wasn't even what he asked. But the overall point is, like, you should be able to ask someone if they speak English in England. That shouldn't be offensive.
It's not even. It's even worse than that. You shouldn't, because you're saying you shouldn't be allowed to ask them if they can. No, you should be allowed to demand that they do. It's bloody England. Speak English. It's not like it's some third world country like America.
Yeah. But even so, like, you're trying to have communication with people, so like it really helps if you're both speaking the same language. Like, it really helps. So you kind of have to be like, do you speak my language? Because I don't speak that language. Do you speak this language? Like, it's going to get to a point where people are just going to be like, do you know what? I am just going to have no interactions with the minorities. I am going to outright blank them because I do not want to be perceived to be offending somebody.
Oh, you mean exactly like what happened to women in the workplace after Me Too, when the men in positions of authority turned around and went, "Hey, not got to be fucking seen near one of them dead."
It's just, I mean, that's what ends up happening, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and then they turn around and complain about, again, in the case of the Me Too era, they start whining, "Oh, men don't want to meet us one-on-one anymore." Well, that's what you fucking asked for.
Well, to be fair, it probably wasn't the ones that it was getting done to that were asking for it. But, like,
well, true, but
in this case, it actually seems to be the law that is the problem. Like, I mean, yes, somebody has went and made a complaint, but, like, the police really should have went, get on your fucking bike, mate. Go up here. What are we cleaning, by the way? We cleaning the Halloween house? Have we cleaned?
We can do either we have not done the Halloween house. We also have under bonus jobs the Muckingham Files Part 1. That I don't think we've done.
Bonus jobs. What do we think, chat? Shall we do?
Yes. What do you reckon, chat?
Part 1. What's in Part 1? The food truck, the satellite dish, and the solar station. We can have the Halloween house, or we can have Part 1. Well, no doubt we'll probably do all of it anyway. Who have we got in the chat?
Probably will.
How dare you speak the language of the culturally... How dare you not speak the language of the culturally enriching? I know, like, we're going to start learning Arabic in schools anyway.
What do you mean start?
Elgin says Durka Durka Durka. That will get me in Storm's good books. Hector X says speaking the native language. Hey, Crown. Crown said it's a bit quiet but good enough. Yeah, it's quiet because it's coming from the channel that we normally have the music on. Speaking of, let's put the music on. Which hopefully won't be super duper loud.
I'm not sure if it's legal for Disco to read Inquisitor Rex's next comment.
I might have to skip over anybody that's likely to get me arrested.
Inquisitor Rex also said, your job is not to police the language people speak. Well, apparently it is now.
It is now.
Uh,
I mean, I guess
and
it's
then
the
he
low-hanging fruit for them, isn't it? Like, they get to make their little
Yeah.
reports, and they don't have to do
well,
anything
that's
hard.
it. Because they totally don't have KPIs on however many interactions and arrests. If they can go and have an interaction with friggin' deaf grandpa there, who is no threat to them whatsoever, then they can turn around to the boss and go, look at all the crimes I averted by having interactions with people. And rather than actually, going after a criminal, you might do things like resist.
Yeah. I don't see chat having picked anything, so let's start with... What will we start with? Let's start with... If I can find the seasonal specials. Let's do a Halloween house, because it looks like a nice big house.
Yes.
Incredible says new DLC for Firewatch Simulator. Birmingham PC crashes on loading 2:30. Oh no. Birmingham is it's something.
Sounds like Birmingham's getting what they fucking deserve.
Well, I mean, the council, though, I think that's one of the councils that tried to declare bankruptcy and wanted to, up their council tax. And yet, apparently when they made cuts, it seems like they've made cuts to the salaries of the bin collectors, which is why the bin collectors have went, F you, we're not going to collect the bins. And not only are we not going to collect the bins, but we're not going to let the people that you brought in to replace us collect the bins either.
Mm-hmm.
Jack was reading it, and he said that they cut their salaries by $8,000 a year.
Oh yeah, that'll piss them off.
That's why they're striking.
I also heard on the grapevine that apparently in the eternal search for pay parity, they decided that it was unfair for office admin staff to get paid less than bin men, because office pay staff are generally female and bin men are generally, men.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they decided that it was unfair that the but gender pay gap.
They're doing different jobs though. But I mean, from my understanding, this council's kind of wasted all its money. It seems like the council's wasted its money and has made cuts in a really stupid place.
Well, it's
the
Birmingham.
one service that people actually wanted is the thing that's been cut.
Well, it's Birmingham. The real question is, do any of the people in Birmingham pay tax?
Well, I suppose that is a question. That is a question that you could ask.
Chat knows why I'm asking that question, but I will absolutely not go into detail on why I'm asking that question.
That is a question that could be asked.
I wonder what percentage of Birmingham lives in council-funded housing. How many people in Birmingham are net positive contributors?
That is a question. I mean, you have to ask the question as well. Obviously, people do pay, in theory, people do pay their council tax, mostly to get their bin collected. I mean, that's mostly what we expect the council to do. But like you would think that people would be like, right, I don't want rats. I would prefer not to have the plague if it's all the same to everybody else. So perhaps I will take the rubbish that I make and I will put it in the dump in the short term.
Well,
Maybe
you'd
I'll
think
send
so,
the
but
council the
remember-
bill for it afterwards. But like I don't fancy the plague. So I'm just gonna try and avoid it. But no, they've just let it pile up in the streets, like just pile and pile and pile. And it's not even just
well,
like bins, like
to be
it's
fair,
it's like fly tippers. Like once it started, they were like, "Oh, we're just gonna dump mattresses here and sofas and fucking everything." It's like that wouldn't have went in your bin anyway. Like that
Yeah.
would have had to
Have you-
been got rid of a different way.
have you ever heard of the broken windows theory?
No.
So it's a theory in like criminal justice psychology that says that if you don't patch up like broken windows on abandoned houses and things, if the number of broken windows and graffiti and things increases significantly, the it leads to a collapse of rule of law, and the problem exponentially increases because well, the people who do that kind of thing can't see the rule of law being enacted. And it's as simple as cleaning up graffiti and repairing broken windows. But if they don't see any signs of the rule of law, it's like, oh, well, clearly no one cares if we break all the windows, and
I guess that's true. Like
crime is permitted in this area.
I don't know if you watched Carl's recent video that he put on his channel. It was him walking around Swindon, and like you can see just how much graffiti and stuff. Like everything's just graffiti covered. And it wasn't even like that a couple of years ago. Like when I was there, it wasn't the nicest of towns, but it didn't look like that. Like it's just
Well,
been plastered in graffiti over the last couple of years.
There's another point from that video as well that I need to be very careful about the phrasing of. There was a security guard that had a go at Carla for filming. And let's just say that you could identify the
He wasn't a
birthplace
local
of the
boy.
security guard by voice.
He wasn't a local, but
No. He was Irish, clearly.
Welsh, probably.
Oh, well, that's fair. Not the Welsh.
Probably a member
That's
of
even
the
worse
choir.
than being Irish.
No,
Oh, dear.
that didn't go completely unnoticed.
Hmm.
It just makes me a bit sad. What's chat saying? Maybe go clean up the trash in Birmingham.
I would think
Der
that's actually. I think
Kinderjäger
that's a hate
says,
crime to suggest.
Jingle, hello. Lord and Critters, Hector Rex says, import the third world? Get the third world. I mean, yes, although I think this may be more of a
I think
council
that statement
mismanagement.
is actually just straight up hate. Well,
I think
it's
true.
a two-tier problem.
Yes. I think it certainly hasn't helped because there is no pride in the area, and so nobody's really kind of taking a personal responsibility for it, even though, yes, it is the council's responsibility because you pay them to do it, but if they ain't gonna do it, like, really the locals should be taking responsibility in the short term and then
Well,
grumbling about it in the long term.
locals probably are. The locals probably are.
She's trying on the walls. But it does seem like it's like the council has completely mismanaged everything and just
Well, yeah,
screwed
it's
them over.
Birmingham. Even before the latest crisis, Birmingham wasn't thought highly of.
No. But that, I do think that's probably part of the problem. I don't think it's the entire problem, though. Although, that said, we don't know who's running the council, so...
I'd be willing to bet that if someone looked up at the Birmingham City Council, it would be exactly as expected.
But I did see somebody saying, like, I seen a post earlier of somebody pointing out that they had spent like 50 million on like a diversity and inclusion and whatnot, and then complained they were bankrupt and then had to make cuts. So, you know, not very much
I
sympathy
can think
for the
of some places
council.
to make cuts in.
Yeah, make
Well,
cuts in
the
bin
first place to
salary
make
job.
cuts. I bet no cuts have been made to the councillors' salaries.
Mm-hmm.
Much like how during the Big C,
So
while
you
Victory
had
was
one
going.
job. One job, really.
Yeah. It's like in the Big C when Melbourne was having the world's longest enforced work from home period. The Premier of the state decided he'd give himself a $13,000 pay rise.
I'm fairly sure that our MPs had a pay rise during that time period as well. You know, while the rest of us were having our businesses shut down and, you know, losing jobs because nobody could afford to keep staff on that weren't going into work and stuff. No. Let's just give them a pay rise. Let's just have a pay rise.
Yeah, the politicians never miss a pay rise.
Oh no. I mean, when they're debating their own pay rise, Parliament is full. It's the only day of the year they all fucking show up.
Mm-hmm. Which is impressive, since most of them never do.
Actor Rick says 8K. That's insane. That is what what Jack had read was that they'd taken an 8K paid cut. Which is probably why they're all angry, and I don't bloody blame them. Like, if somebody had cut my pay by 8K a year because they were too busy mismanaging their money, I think I would probably strike and prevent somebody else from coming in to do the job too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at that point, it's not even they're being greedy. Like, oh, we want more money. We constantly want more money. It's like, no, we want to be paid what we were paid yesterday. Like,
yeah. But, and like, it's bad enough that if we're lucky, the pay rises we get are indexed to inflation at best. And that's not anything to do with the cost of living, because what determines inflation has been very cleverly designed to be a bunch of stuff that makes it look tiny.
Yeah, in real terms, inflation is a lot higher than that.
Yes, we're having a 1.5% CPI increase. That's fantastic, but did you notice that the cost of living has gone up by 15% instead?
15? Huh. Still a bargain in Australia.
Oh, no, that's per quarter.
I was gonna say
It's compounding.
Like, last year we our electricity bill came in, and they were like, "Ha, you're like £500 in debt, by the way." And we're like, "How the fuck are we £500 in debt? Like, we've never missed a payment. Like, we've been paying it as you've been charging it. Like, you send the bill, we pay it. How are we £500 in debt?" And they were like, "Oh, well, you see, you were on this payment plan, but the prices went up a little bit, and it wasn't even a fucking little bit. Like, £500 is not a fucking little bit. Thank you very much."
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, "How has it got this far into being behind?" And they were just like, "Well, I'm like, how much has it gone up?" "Oh, only 5%. It's like, no fucking way in hell has it only gone up 5%. Like, no way in hell has it only gone up 5% for us to be £500 behind without knowing." And they were like, eventually we managed to peel it out of them that no, he meant it went up 5% last month. But over the course of the year had gone up like 85%. And we're like, right, so you've doubled the prices but didn't double the bill. Of course we ended up behind. Like, anybody with, like, basic primary 1 maths could have told you that. Like, why were you not contacting customers when you raised the prices?
Yeah. Marcus says that in reference to the politicians, they never miss a tax increase either.
Yeah, even when they promised that you could rip your bill up because there would be no tax increases.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Loading
speak-
Mr. Hector says,
speaking-
I heard Rachel from accounts did the math. No, it was more than 50%. It was almost doubled. Over the course of a year, because they were like, no, it went up 5% in January, and we're like, how much did it go up in the rest of the months? And they were like, over the course of the last year, about 85%. Right, so it's pretty much doubled then, which is why I'm so far behind, because my bill didn't double. You just left it on the same amount, and then we're like, what? We'll just send you a bill later with fees added on because you're behind. Like, why would you not just message me and be like, we need to put your bill up because you're gonna get into debt?
Well, turns out they're grossly incompetent. And I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to talk about the reason it's gone up on YouTube either.
The government?
Yes. But the government, the particular government policy. You know, it's the same one that has made England reliant on undersea cables to bloody Denmark and gas pipelines from Norway for energy security.
So, in fact, you know what? You want to talk about energy? I wasn't gonna bring this article up because I wasn't sure how to get into it. But since we have arrived there anyway, as well.
No, it's basically you must have 72 hours of supplies in case Russia bombs the pipelines.
No, it's not that one. Where is it? Ah, yes, it's under climate seawards. Where is the Chrome box? Chrome. There we go. Labour's net zero crusader, Ed Miliband, has a carbon footprint 12 times higher than the average Briton.
No.
Right, so he's all sat there like, you all need to just like be net zero. You can't have your car anymore. You can't have power anymore. You gotta pay X amount more for your power because we're gonna make sure that you can't get cheap power because that would be not very green. And meanwhile, Ed Miliband is just like wasteful.
Typical politician.
See you, Jesus
Such
Christ.
typical politician.
Cheerio. This is Grudgem says, I think that's illegal here. What, putting up the prices and not telling the customer? Well, they did lose a customer.
I mean, it's
to
probably
be fair.
illegal.
We did turn around and was like, you can stick your fucking account up bum because that's just shady. Like, we didn't want to be in debt and having to pay it off alongside what we were, like, our new bill. We're just like, nah, just bugger off.
I mean, it's probably also illegal in the UK, but good luck.
Could you not say, oh, George, I love you, but you can't sit between me and the keyboards.
Yes, I can, he says.
So yeah, Ed Miliband 12 times as wasteful as the average UK citizen. As usual, preaching to us from above a bloody pedestal.
Yeah.
Telling us what we can and can't do while not doing it himself. Elton says, yay, kitty nice! Ed Miliband, you mean Ms. Tweedy from the Chicken Run? He's so unlikable. He's so unlikable. He's like the anti-charisma. Like, he's the most uncharismatic person that I've ever seen.
And yet, somehow, he's an MP.
Well, he was the leader of the Labour Party at some point, wasn't he? And, like, everyone was like, ugh. No. So unlikable. And a hypocrite. Which makes him even more unlikable.
To be fair, we knew he was a hypocrite when you said he was a politician.
Well, yes, that's true. But I'm just so tired of being preached at to fucking about climate by celebrities and millionaires and people who are just like, oh, you can't have a holiday because of the climate, and you need to have expensive power, and you're not going to be allowed your car anymore, and blah 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 because climate. Meanwhile, excuse me while I just get on my private jet and jet around the fucking world.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Australian, and they're like, oh, you shouldn't use the air conditioning as much. It's like, fucking excuse you. This is Australia, motherfucker.
Yeah, kitty noises.
Kitty.
Hi. Hi, George. Oh, just tired of it. And apparently we don't get any say in it, because no matter which party you vote for, they all are preaching from the same net zero hymn sheet. And it's like, I do not care. I just want to not have to decide between whether I'm going to put the heating on or whether I'm going to eat that week.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it. Don't sit here telling us about, oh, the world's going to end in 100 years if you don't do all these things, when we're sitting here going, yeah, cool. I'd like to not starve this winter, please. Get back to us when we live in a post-gassy environment.
They all want to shy away from nuclear, which actually is clean and would supply everybody with fairly cheap energy. But no, let's shy away from that and just go on these absolute bonkers things that just inconvenience people, just make people's lives harder. You want to make energy cleaner? Great. Go and open some nuclear fucking power plants. Make the energy cheap and sustainable. If you were like, you know what, we're going to open some nuclear power plants, it's going to make the energy greener, it's going to make the energy cheaper. Like, everybody's bill will go down too. Everyone will be like, alright, cool. Thanks, mate. Carry on. Carry on.
That's the key part. You know, it's not cheaper. What's the bloody point? I'm sorry, but I just can't bring myself to give a shit about the bloody polar bears, or whatever excuse they're using this time.
What I also don't understand is they seem to really shy away from hydro as well. And from what I understand, hydro is actually one of the few that actually does seem to be fairly reliable and not cost a fortune to implement, because you're kind of using the power of the rivers and whatnot. Like, you're just putting in some wheels in the river.
Yeah.
But they never.
Hydro is one of the best. Yeah.
They always shy away from hydro as well. It's like, it doesn't seem to be just about being green. It seems to be about. It's just another tax, isn't it? Like, it just seems to be another tax. Because there are ways that they could get what they want and not fuck everybody over.
Yep.
I don't seem to want to,
though. Prime says that apparently Sweden just sent 10 million euros to Ghana for electric mopeds.
Why? Why?
Kickbacks would be my first guess. I want to know which politician has a brother's, cousin's, sister's, mother's, aunt's, wife's boyfriend owns a fucking electric scooter company.
Well, that is a good question. It just winds me up. Meanwhile, we all just get a little bit bored. For the maybe tiny bit of carbon that we're not using. Go on, climb! Can I not get up here? I'm not allowed up here. I'm gonna need a ladder. Get a ladder. Come here, ladder. So speaking of crazy carbon, if you remember how bad Snow White was, they could not even please the lefties. They couldn't even please the lefties because it had higher carbon emissions than Fast and the Furious film.
Oh, is that some bullshit calculation on the electricity used to render it or something?
I'm not sure. I just went by the headline and thought it would be fun to read it.
That's fair.
And then Inquisitor Actrix is like, wait, what? We shall read it together. The film, combined with The Little Mermaid, created more carbon emissions than some major airports do in a year. I mean, I'm assuming
combined
that
with
they've got to,
The
like,
Little Mermaid,
fly
right?
all the actors around, and then, like, it's, like, heavy CGI and stuff. But I don't know, that's an assumption, because I haven't actually read the article yet. At the screening of Snow White in London last month, I don't care about the back, just tell me about the emissions. I don't want waffle. But the film's theme of being at one with nature seems to have not extended to the real-life environment, with company documents showing the making of Snow White generated more greenhouse gas emissions in the UK than the latest Fast and Furious film, despite the latter's reliance on an array of gas-guzzling cars. Analysis of more than 250 sets of filings from the Walt Disney Company reveals that the live-action remakes of Snow White and other animated classics, The Little Mermaid, created more pollution than any of the other... I've lost my place. Than any of its other movies made since 2019, when the environmental reporting requirement was introduced. Why is that even a requirement? I mean, it is funny to read, but like, what? Why do they now they have to hire a guy who's just like, I have to report how much carbon emissions we
In
use.
BlackRock. It's BlackRock. It's always
Sonic
BlackRock.
Nitro said, hey Discordia, I want to take a look at this article myself. Hang on, let me grab it for you then. I'm sorry, but it is The Guardian. So why won't you paste? Paste, please. Thank you. There you go. I'm sorry, it is The Guardian. I know it's poo, but they do have some funny stories because they're wild. Right, where were we? The emissions from Snow White and the Little Mermaid are higher than the annual amount produced by Birmingham and Luton airports. It's pretty funny.
That is funny.
Each
Well, I
movie
love to
generated
see
higher
these
emissions
losing
than the annual
themselves.
total for Blackpool Pleasure Beach and London's O2 Arena, where Snow White influencer event took place. Yeah, but why? What are you counting though? That is the question though. Okay, let's see. The Queen again. You're just yapping about filler stuff. Just tell me about the.
No, it's like that article about the guys, the criminals on bail who were caught with illegal, unregistered, serial number scratched off guns at in Melbourne at the sporting place. Every second sentence was about how the bloody game went.
Here we go. Emissions are measured